The Chaoyong Park Beach Volleyball Ground Facility. We are set and ready for a matchup in Pool B. Our first look at the defending Olympic gold medalists from the United States, Misty May Traynor and Carrie Walsh. They'll take on the team from Japan, Mika Saiki and Chiaki Kusuhara. May and Walsh, easy winners in Athens. They did not lose a match or a set. Since then, they've racked up 68 world titles. They've won 2 world championships, and both have since gotten married. Misty May marrying a baseball player, Florida Marlins catcher Matt Traynor. And you see Misty with 102 career victories. She is the winningest woman of all time. Carrie Walsh, meanwhile, has married a volleyball player, AVP beach volleyball star Casey Jennings. And Karch, if you're familiar with volleyball, you know. If you don't, Carrie Walsh, Misty May on an incredible run right now.
We thought they couldn't get any better than they were 4 years ago, but now they're on an amazing streak. 18 tournaments in a row, 101 matches in a row, carrying right on into this Olympics. The higher the stakes, the better they get.
Saiki and Kusuhara, the 23rd ranked team in the tournament. They qualified for the Olympics, as you see, the last tournament possible in Marseille a couple of weeks ago. A couple of Olympians, Mika Saiki, the shorter of the two, at 5'8". She's 36 years old, and she is tied with 3 others as the second oldest female in the Olympics. The oldest, of course, being American Elaine Youngs at 38. So we are set, ready to go. Saiki with the poke, and the Japanese lead 1-0. The temperature relatively cool today at 82 degrees, humidity 87%, and a few light raindrops have started to sprinkle. Misty May's first opportunity, and a nice dig by Saiki. Walsh is the taller of the two in the red cap, and one of the most dominating players, if not the most dominating player in the world.
Well, at her height, she is really the force at the net for this dominant May Walsh team. She will be serving and running to the net. She specializes in doing all the blocking at 6'2". Misty May at 5'9" in the backcourt, the best defensive player in the world.
Carrie Walsh is 6'2". She's 29 years old. She'll turn 30 on August 15th. She was born in San Jose, raised in Santa Clara, and now living in Redondo Beach. Pretty good serve there. Saiki got it. Mika Saiki, she's only 5'8". And Karch, the Japanese team, the second shortest team in the competition.
And this should really be fun to watch, Chris, because a very interesting contrast in styles. Being so short, these two Japanese players play great defense, but very weak at the net blocking.
Kusuhara with the serve. May. Bad pass going right. 2-2 our score here in the first set. Kusuhara. Oh, the up. No, Misty May gets a kill. Let's take you into the rules. To win a match, you must capture at least 2 of the first 3 sets. The first 2 sets are played to 21. The third and final set, if necessary, goes to 15. It's a rally scoring, or point on every play, or ping pong scoring. And we should tell you that unlike tennis, let serves are in play, and that has been a factor in the competition so far. Misty May, white headband, and she hits it out of bounds.
And for those who don't follow it, Chris, 7 years ago when all those rule changes took place, so it really changed the game, along with shrinking the court down by about 20%, making players like Walsh even more important at the net blocking.
Rob, are you?
4-4. In the first set, Misty May Trainer and Kerri Walsh, the second-seeded team in the tournament, but that's deceiving, Karch. They are the #1 team in the world.
That's right, Chris. They qualified a clear #1, getting almost the maximum possible points you can accumulate. But there's a homer rule in beach volleyball, and so the Chinese team got the #1 seed, even though May and Walsh really earned that top berth.
Light rain continues to fall here at Chaoyong Park. How will that affect the play for both teams?
Well, #1, it's harder to look up into the air on a high pass. #2, the ball will accumulate a lot of water as it travels through the air, so players have to be really careful not to let it slip through their fingers.
Walsh at the net. Kerri Walsh at just over 6'2", the best blocker in the world.
Yep, especially on plays like this. This is a mistake by the Japanese. Do not put the ball within a foot of the net, because Walsh will smother those, especially for the second shortest team in the tournament with the Japanese.
Kusuhara gets the kill. Interesting story about Kusuhara. In 2004, Karch, she had the misfortune of drawing Misty May and Kerri Walsh in the opening match then.
And we asked her about that earlier this week. Said, well, what do you think about that? It was very, very unlucky, she said, because they have to play again in the first match of the Olympics. 2 straight Olympics, the worst draw you possibly could have.
Misty May dropping it into the corner. And now May and Walsh lead it 7-5. Here's Walsh. And the little tap, no good.
And we were talking about the rain, Chris. Some people may wonder, well, what kind of a rain do you play in? Actually, in beach volleyball, you will play into anything but a deluge. And the other one, of course, is if there's lightning, then all play will stop. They've got to clear the stadium, keep everybody safe.
8-5, May Walsh. Down the line, Misty's got it. Shoveled over by Walsh. Kusuhara, May again. Misty looking for 9. Not yet. Now, Misty May pummels one through. First set underway. The defending Olympic gold medalist, May Walsh, looking good.
NBC's high-definition coverage is brought to you by Volkswagen's Autobahn for All Summer event.
An event like this can get a little wild.
We are back live at the Chaoyong Park Beach Volleyball Ground facility. May and Walsh leading 12-7. It was 9-5. And a timeout called. We're playing in a light drizzle. As you see May and Walsh go to the bench, you see the black striping, the black tape on the shoulder of Kerri Walsh. For more on that, let's welcome in the third member of our broadcast crew, Heather Cox. Heather?
Chris, Kerri Walsh had surgery on that right hitting shoulder in November to fix a torn rotator cuff muscle, a bone chip, and scar tissue, all of which were causing her chronic pain. Now that's the 3rd time she's had surgery on that shoulder. I talked to her team doctor, who told me the black tape is called kinesio tape. It's used to increase circulation and lymph node drainage. He said it's almost like taking an Advil. It cuts down on the pain, the inflammation. It also provides a little bit of security. Now, doctors have said that Kerri is ahead of schedule on her rehab. Kerri told me she's still not quite as strong as she would like to be. We'll see her hit about 80-90% most of the match, and every once in a while she'll give it a full 100% to try to keep that shoulder healthy throughout the Olympic Games.
And amazingly, she felt pain in that shoulder almost every day since Sydney. That means she played the Athens Olympics with it clearly not 100% to her anyway, but she calls it 100% functional now and at least 90% strong as that recovery continues.
Japan and the United States were tied 4-4. May and Walsh going on a 5-1 run. Walsh with a block. The United States has scored 3 in a row now. And over the top and out.
And you know what? Kerri Walsh will not get a stat as a stuffed block on that play, Chris, but 2 blocks in play, intimidating the hitter into hitting out. Walsh doing a great job at the net there, and nothing on the stats to show for it. And
off Misty May. Misty May and Kerri Walsh A match made in heaven. They've been playing together for 8 years now. And interestingly, Misty May and Kerri Walsh, there was a tryout for Kerri to play with Misty way back in 2001. All right, beach volleyball growing in popularity, and for more on that, let's go down to Heather Cox.
Well, the beach volleyball venue had a very special visitor yesterday. President Bush came to the venue to greet the top Americans. He watched practice, took photos, even got a lesson or two on the finer points of passing from Misty. And they're becoming fast friends. This is actually the third time Kerri and Misty have rubbed shoulders with the president in the last month. They dined together at the White House 3 weeks ago, and then at opening ceremonies, they ran into each other, and Kerri actually invited him to drop by the venue, thinking he'd never accept. Well, he did, and Chris, his visit now marks the first time a sitting U.S. president has ever been to an Olympic beach volleyball competition.
And Kerri Walsh said, you know, if the president would take his shoes off, he'd really rock out here.
I like the president's passing platform, but he needs to work on his mobility just a little, as you alluded to.
He's working on it. Got to get those shoes off, get your toes in the sand, and start running around.
Morning session, the first match. Rain, light rain coming down. Misty May, Kerri Walsh, the heavy favorites to repeat as gold medal champs. And if they do, Karch, this would be the first time ever that a team won 2 consecutive gold medals in beach volleyball.
And they've talked about that a lot. That is a huge quest for them to do something that nobody's done before, be the greatest team that beach volleyball has seen.
Misty May puts it away. If you're wondering who's better, Misty May or Kerri Walsh, think of it this way. Misty May and Kerri Walsh, they are Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. If you take an older kind of combination, they're both great, both Hall of Famers, both terrific at what they do, but they do different things.
And you asked Kerri, who's better between you? She said, that's a stupid question. We need each other. Just one needs the other, so we share our duties. Walsh does the blocking at the net, Misty May in the backcourt. It works perfectly.
One of the quotes that I really like, and I believe Kerri Walsh said it, she said, individually we're good, together we're golden. And that has been the case as Walsh and May have dominated international play. They're now on an 11-4 scoring run. And down the line goes Kusuhara. You might notice the necklaces that the Japanese players are wearing, Karch, and those are necklaces to relieve the tension in your neck.
We asked him about those. Well, what is in them? And it was a little tough in the translation. She said shitan, and then it turns out it's titanium, and they feel like it also actually helps them get better sleep, and that's important in the Olympic competition because there's so much stress involved. Got to get your rest.
A relaxing agent. So the Japanese players wearing the necklaces, and we had suggested that maybe to relax the neck, you needed to wear extra necklaces on the neck.
Yeah, can you wear 2? Maybe a couple around the wrists. You might need some around the ankles. Need a lot of help against the best team that's ever been in women's beach volleyball.
Yeah, Kusuhara, number 2 in blue. She said, no, we only need 1 against May Walsh. Well, I'm not sure. They may have to get the double necklaces on in the break. They are trailing 16-10. Now Kerri on the left with the red hat. Misty. Excuse me. Here's Walsh. Did I say she was wearing a red cap? And Misty May in the white headband for identification. 17-10 now. Once again, you probably know the first 2 sets are to 21. Now May and Walsh closing in on a win here. Saiki blocked. Walsh up top. And Walsh puts it away. So late in the first set, May Walsh leading the team from Japan 18-10.
The games of the 29th Olympiad on NBC are brought to you by Volkswagen. It's what the people want. By Vizio, America's HD TV company. To learn more, log on to Vizio.com. And by Bank of America, official sponsor of the U.S. Olympic team.
Back live at Chaoyong Park, Misty May and Kerry Walsh winning the first set, 21-12. A set point. Some easy maneuvering for May Walsh.
Do we know if Jason
especially because the Japanese are so small, not intimidating blockers at the net. May and Walsh having their way on offense.
It was tied at 4-4. The Americans going on a 17-8 run. Well, Misty May and Kerry Walsh, as we have mentioned, they have been sensational. They haven't lost in nearly a year. Matter of fact, Arch, they are undefeated in 2008.
Not since August 19th of last year. The last team to beat them, their fellow American competitors here, Nicole Branna and Elaine Youngs. But look at that, the one in the middle, 101 straight matches. That's just unheard of in beach volleyball. The prior record was 89 in a row. Guess who held it? May and Walsh 4 years ago.
The rain continues to fall. The umbrellas and the slickers are out here at Chaoyong Park. The surface getting a little bit wet. And Misty May chasing his Walsh. May and Walsh, two fantastic athletes. Nice up there by Saiki. Another dig by Saiki.
Japanese showing off their great defensive skills.
That could have been a lift, was not called. Saiki in trouble, pokes it. May on one. May again. Both teams huffing and puffing. On one. And Japan scores. Wow.
That's the rally of the Olympics so far. What an amazing job all four players are doing, even though the rain continues to come down here. You notice they're all using that underhand shot, just like May does there, because they don't want the ball to slip through their hands. Finally, Kusuhara returning the favor. Remember, earlier in that rally, Misty May tried to put it over on one, then Kusuhara wins the point doing the same thing.
Little jump floater. May getting most of the serves here. And the kill.
And when we talk about on one, on two, normally in beach volleyball or indoor volleyball, you want to use all three permitted contacts on your side of the net. But in this case, if we say on one, it means they only use the one. Normally you want to take the ball from deep, keep advancing it closer to the net where you can attack best.
1-1 our score. Start of the second set. If you're new to volleyball, the court dimensions are 8 meters by 8 meters. And in the women's game, the height of the net is 7'4 1/4. In the men's game, it's 8 feet.
And so Kerry Walsh, with the long wingspan that she has, she could just stand at the net and block. She already reaches 8 or 9 inches over the top of the net without even jumping.
In fact, she has a higher reach than Karch Karai. We did that test in Athens 4 years ago. She would dominate you, Karch.
She's probably got an even higher reach now that she got that shoulder repaired. Nice and high reach. When you are attacking, you want to reach your fullest above your head. Attack the ball with a straight elbow.
And through the hands of May, gives Saiki the kill. Of course, Kerry Walsh, a tremendous athlete. As a youngster, she played Little League Baseball on a boys team. She played pitcher and first base with her brother. Loved being one of the boys. Then she was a center on a state title high school basketball team, Archbishop Mitty in Northern California. And then, of course, a starter on the 2000 USA Women's Indoor team. And then making the break and getting to the beach and becoming one of the great players of all time.
And on that indoor team, very disappointing. The 4th place finish in Sydney motivated her to come back even stronger in the Athens games.
Here's Saiki. And Walsh is there. Misty goes and gets it. And May clinches one. Second set, Misty May and Kerry Walsh ahead 4-3. Back live, Chaoyong Park, the Olympic beach volleyball facility. A matchup in Pool B, Misty May and Kerry Walsh. They won the first set 21-12. However, Japan is taking a surprising lead here in the second set, 7-4. If you're May Walsh, are you concerned now?
I don't think so. They were pretty smooth in the first game. I think this is a very good matchup for them to start the Olympics with. A weaker team that they normally dominate. They beat a Japanese team 4 years ago to start the Athens Olympics in 35 minutes. It's a good one to get the rhythm going.
And Kusuhara, part of that team. Once again, she found out about the draw. Karch Karai and I were talking to her, asked her if she felt unlucky that she had to play Misty May and Kerri Walsh in 2 successive Olympics in the opening match, Karch.
And she said, very, very unlucky.
7-5, though, as Saiki sends it through.
Saiki, a rare time where she finds the seam in the block there, actually between Kerri Walsh's hands. As a blocker, you want to try to keep those hands together. Never let the ball slip through the space.
Here comes Misty. 8-5. And into the net. And we talked about Kerri Walsh's athletic ability, but how about Misty May, Karch? As a youngster, played soccer, ran track.
Loved a lot of different sports, but track was a great one. Competed in the high jump as a sophomore in high school. Cleared 5:10 and a half. Finished second in California. That almost would have qualified her for the Olympic team that year. And then she went on to even compete for a year at Long Beach State in track and field, but just found it was taking too much time, as she was one of the all-time great college players there, leading her team to an NCAA championship.
Kerri Walsh up high. If you haven't seen much beach volleyball, here's how it goes. Normally, the best 2 players play together on any tour. If you're the top player, as we look at the signals, but May and Walsh clearly 1-2.
You put the best 2 players together, you're probably going to have the best team together. And as Walsh says, the best 2 players aren't just added up. It's almost like multiplying. And it seems like you're playing against 3 or 4 over there if you're their opponents, having now May and Walsh having won 101 straight matches in a row.
Trying to make it 102. 8-8. Kusuhara. May's got it. Misty rips it. She started off her career in Long Beach as a left side, as an outside hitter, and then made the conversion to setter and becoming the NCAA Player of the Year. Her 10th kill.
And also known as a great setter, but does not use that overhand touch very much, which is a wise move, especially today. With all the rain coming down, slippery ball would go right through.
May over the top.
We talk about signals in volleyball, blocking signals, and we'll get that after this timeout. Kerri Walsh tries to give her partner an indication of what area of the court that she will defend.
May and Walsh on a 5-0 scoring run. Second set, the Olympic champs leading 10-8.
The games of the 29th Olympiad on NBC are brought to you by Coca-Cola, for 80 years a proud sponsor of the Olympic Games and the unity they help create.
A Pool B matchup here at Chaoyong Park. May and Walsh won the first set 21-12 and lead here in the second set 11-10. And for more on Misty and Kerri, let's go down to Heather.
A very special fan in the stands watching them play today, the NBA's Jason Kidd, and there's no coincidence as to why he's in the stands today. Misty May spent her childhood idolizing Jason Kidd. She wore his number 5 jersey growing up in every sport, and then at Long Beach State, where it's now retired. Now, just how important is that number to her? It's actually tattooed as a Roman numeral on her back. May met her idol in Sydney, then reconnected with him during the opening ceremonies a few nights ago. Kidd told Misty he was going to do everything he could to come and watch her play. Certainly impressive, considering that the team captain is getting ready to open play against China and Yao Ming later on tonight, guys.
The earpiece, maybe a headset to his pals, Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, who knows?
Well, the volleyball players have run into a number of the basketball players, and they're noticing how much friendlier they are this time. It's like the basketball players are really making an effort to be a part of, an integral part of the Olympic team this time around.
Japan and the United States. Opening match for Misty May and Kerri Walsh. The format here in the Olympic competition, 24 teams in the women's draw, divided into 6 pools of 4 teams. And after the preliminary round, 16 teams will advance to a single elimination bracket.
To the knockout bracket, and you lose once in that time, in that bracket, then you're out of the tournament. So you'd have to win 4 straight matches after pool play to win the gold medal.
Misty May rockets one off Saiki. So Misty May with the hammer, one of the great hitters in the history of beach volleyball.
And she has come into this year probably in her best condition ever, got more pop on the ball, more zing. And she talked about it. She's looking at this as potentially her last Olympics. Both Walsh and May want to start families after this. It may not mean the end of volleyball, but they're thinking they might be taking a break and want to take care of business and be as well prepared as possible for this Olympic Games and become the first team ever to defend as gold medalists.
May Walsh by 2. Japan putting up a pretty good fight here. Just not physical enough, not tall enough. As we mentioned, the Japanese team, the second shortest team in the Olympics at 5'8" and 5'9". Only the Cubans, Crespo and Esteves, who we will see in our coverage later, are shorter.
If you had a bigger blocker at the net, Chris, that ball might not go past, or Walsh might not be so successful with that. But very small blockers, much easier for May at the net here, and Walsh on the previous play.
Misty May has 20 kills. Japan has 16 kills as their total.
Well, when you talk about a player having kills, it's a little unusual because it means the other team thinks Misty May is the weaker offensive player. They then direct all their serves toward her, trying to make her carry the offensive load. And as you say, she's racking up the kills.
Nice deflection by Walsh. A 4-point lead. And Misty pounds it down the line.
Well, Chris, we talk about signals in beach volleyball, and Misty May, Kerri Walsh will put a signal behind. That this time, Kerri Walsh actually, because she is at the serving position, she might call it there, Misty giving the 1-1 signal. That means wherever the ball goes, Kerri Walsh is going to take line. Here she is taking line. So May on the angle, doing her job perfectly there.
Nice up, but the put away on the right side by Kusuhara. If you're wondering about volleyball terminology, a kill is a successful spike. A block is a rejection of a kill. A dig is bringing it up, just like Misty May did, bringing up a spike.
And she did it there. The play broke down because Walsh put that set back over the net. May didn't get a swing attempt on that, but when she does get those, she's racking it up. Now Walsh getting a chance at offense, just hitting it out of bounds. With that shoulder surgery, Walsh has actually improved her finesse game, and she's not hitting as hard, so she's hitting it over the block, finding the softer areas of the court.
Yeah, you wonder why Japan isn't serving Walsh. If I see someone with a pound of tape on their right shoulder, I'm going after her. And now Japan switching it up. Walsh, of course, that's one of the problems, that she hits it so hard and so straight down. But if someone's got any kind of shoulder issue, you have to test them.
Exactly, but it's such a mismatch in height. We saw Walsh about 5 plays ago crush a ball straight down. It's just too hard for the Japanese to get any sort of a block going at the net.
Here's Mika Saiki. And Walsh is there. Her third block.
And the thing that Kerri Walsh does well on this play is she waits and jumps after the hitter so that she is at the top of her jump when the ball gets to her. She doesn't want to jump when the hitter jumps. She wants to jump so that she times that ball's arrival right to her hands.
May Walsh starting to close in. It's been an impressive performance so far for the gold medalists, winning 21-12, a 9-point victory in the first set and leading by 6 here.
We've seen them make a few errors though, and they are such perfectionists. I would say that if you were to ask them after this match, did you play well? I'd guess that they would not be particularly happy, and they're just always demanding more of themselves.
Well, certainly after the upset of Phil Dahlhauser and Todd Rogers, the #1 American team yesterday, Mayan Walsh figured to be on their game and very focused for this one.
And unlike Dahlhauser and Rogers, they've been through 2 Olympics already, have the experience and the knowledge to be able to pull it off.
So Misty May having a big match. And the first match point coming up for May Walsh. Walsh will serve it. And the ball hit out. And the players look quizzically. Was there a touch? It's a point for Japan.
I think what happened here is that Kerry Walsh, it did just go off her right hand. Comes down a little frustrated, grabbing the net. She wants to dominate. Second match point. Japan will serve it. This could be it right here. Misty May for the win. Got it! So Misty May and Kerry Walsh win 2-0 and a very encouraging start for the defending Olympic champions. So May and Walsh off to a great start in defense of their gold medal. Now we're going to send it to my pal Bob Costas. Bob?
All right, so as expected, Misty May trainer and Kerry Walsh opened their title defense successfully. We want to bring you an update now on the story we mentioned earlier. According to USA Volleyball, Hugh McCutcheon will not coach the U.S. men's team in its opening game against Venezuela later today. That was to have been expected because McCutcheon's father-in-law was murdered by a Chinese citizen on Saturday in an apparently random attack. His mother-in-law was also seriously injured in that attack. First assistant Ron Larson will coach the team in McCutcheon's place. And when we come back to Beijing, we'll return to gymnastics. Plus, at the top of the hour, Michael Phelps swims live in the final of the 400-meter individual medley. More from the games of the 29th Olympiad after this.